The US, along with its European allies, calls for a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine. If Russia fails to accept the proposal, it may face mass sanctions. The coalition of the willing leaders have gathered today in Kyiv to discuss just that. And to talk about it and more, we're joined by Roland Freudenstein, expert in international security and co-founder of the Brussels Freedom Hub. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
So, the most important question is, what will Russia do with the Western proposal of a 30-day ceasefire?
Well, theoretically, that's the billion-dollar question, or euro if you prefer, but or zloty.
No rubles, though.
But I think we can make an educated guess. Russia has already indicated by the government spokesman Peskov, allegedly, there's even a Putin quote saying that Russia will continue to attach conditions to this 30-day ceasefire, conditions which are unacceptable to Ukraine and therefore also unacceptable to the West.
Therefore, what will Donald Trump do?
That is the next billion-euro question. I think, honestly, today was the best day for Ukraine, for Europe, and for all freedom-loving people in the world since early March with the Oval Office scene between the two presidents, Zelensky and Trump. Because the West is now very much tempted, and the Europeans want this, to actually increase the sanctions against Russia and use crippling sanctions for a change. You know, we're not talking about increasing the list of persons that now can't travel to the West or have bank accounts in the West.
So what would cripple Russia?
Secondary sanctions. Secondary sanctions means measures against all companies from the West that still cooperate with Russia, and possibly even third countries. That has not been the case today. The US have so far completely rejected this, but seeing that Putin does not want peace, Trump may come around. And I think we saw the beginning of a new consensus, Euro-American consensus, on Russia and Ukraine today in Kyiv.
So, if I get you right, the sanctions would be imposed on Kazakhstan if it resells the Russian fossil fuels.
That is one possibility. I mean, you know, the devil is in the details. But secondary sanctions means that we go after the instruments with which Russia has largely avoided the immediately dramatic effect of the sanctions regime that we've had for the last almost 3.5 years.
Right. Now, 4 European leaders of the coalition of the willing came to Kyiv today. President of France, Chancellor of Germany, and Prime Ministers of the UK and Poland. Now, what do you make of Donald Tusk's attendance?
I mean, this is a big success. It's a big success for Donald Tusk personally, for this Polish government, because by size, Poland is not quite in the league of the other 3 countries here. And nevertheless, Poland is not only has the presidency of the European Council at the moment, but is also arguably the strongest military power when it comes to land forces in Europe currently, and its military power will grow. It is located close to Ukraine, obviously, and it therefore plays a particular role also as a conduit, as a transit country for military assistance to Ukraine. I think 95% of all Ukrainian military assistance passes through Poland. So Poland has an important word to say here.
And yet, Warsaw still opposes sending any peacekeeping soldiers to Ukraine.
Well, Poland is engaged in supporting Ukraine in so many ways, and its eastern border in other places is under such concrete threat. You know, I'm talking about Belarus especially, that Poland has good reasons to at least not say clearly at this point we're going to send 1,000 or 5,000 or so and so many soldiers. That is now up to the other powers.
Right, talking about other powers, only a day before the meeting in Kyiv, Poland has signed a treaty with with France. Now, how much does it bolster Poland's security?
I think we need to see the political symbolism here, the political content. Let's remember, France and Poland were on opposite sides of most European debates in security for 2, maybe 3 decades. I remember the first Polish-French spats on transatlantic security and how to confront Russia and so on from the 90s. So to have such a blooming bilateral relationship is a value in itself. And second, there's always concrete things that two militarily important countries in Europe, such as France and Poland, can agree to work together on, and to joint production of certain weapon systems, exchange of best practice, and so on. But I think that really the main significance of this is political, that France and Poland are now officially on the same side of the barrier when it comes to the security debate in the West.
This is not a surprise, but what is a bit surprising, there was no mention of the French nuclear umbrella over Poland.
Yeah, look, such a nuclear umbrella is easier said than done. If you look at the French nuclear program, the French...
by the way, that was France's proposal, right?
Yes, but let's look exactly what President Macron and other French leaders, also military leaders, have said about the possibility of concretely extending the French nuclear umbrella to other countries. They have never said we can do this at the snap of a finger. The French nuclear deterrent is a weapon of last resort, and it cannot cover all stages of nuclear deterrence, from the light tactical to the heavy tactical to the finally strategic level. The French nuclear weapons are there for if France itself, in its hexagonal form, is attacked, and its existence is heavily threatened. In that case, French nuclear weapons come into place. By its numbers, by its shape, by its type of weapons, most of it is sea-based on submarines, the French nuclear deterrent that cannot cover other European countries as it is now. Now, what will happen in the future, and Germany's Chancellor Merz has also started talking about this, is that France and Britain, by the way, will maybe modernize their nuclear forces and maybe develop their nuclear doctrines in such a way that they can in fact extend the umbrella to other European democracies. But that's for the future.
Right. So we have new treaties in the West, but then on the other hand, in the East, there was a parade in Moscow. Now, what do you make of Slovakia's Prime Minister attendance?
From the coalition of the willing to the coalition of the killing, as I read on social media today. So, no, the fact that the leader of a member state of the European Union, and still a democratic country, goes celebrate Dzień Pobiedy, Victory Day in Moscow, alongside the mass killer Putin, is a violation of the fundamental values on which the European Union is built. And therefore it's unacceptable. There will be consequences in the way other European leaders will deal with Slovakia. Probably won't be any formal sanctions against Slovakia, but Fico will feel the heat.
And what about Serbian leader? Serbia is aspiring to become an EU member.
Yes, right. The more Serbia's partners in the European Union watch Vucic's behavior vis-à-vis Putin, I think the more the day of Serbia joining the European Union as a full member is somehow disappearing in the distance. It will happen eventually, but I can't actually see Mr. Vucic becoming a member of the European Council along with the others. I don't think that's going to happen very soon.
As Donald Trump says, never Say never. Roland Freudenstein, expert in international security and co-founder of the Brussels Freedom Hub, was our guest tonight. Thank you very kindly. And thank you for watching, and stay with us for much more news and features here on TVP World.